Olivia 3 years ago. I believed I had found my true love at that moment. I vividly recall the day I first laid eyes on her. She was wearing a lovely dress that fit her well, and her gorgeous blonde hair gleamed in the sunlight. I couldn't take my eyes off of her. It was like to falling in love. She exuded kindness, self-assurance, and beauty. I was certain at that very moment that she was the one I was destined to live with for the rest of my days. Everything seemed ideal at first. I loved being around her, and we had a great relationship. Olivia wasn't just my girlfriend, she became my best friend. We shared so many happy moments, and it felt like we were building something strong together. But as time went on, something started to change within me. I realized that my feelings for Olivia weren't the same anymore. It wasn't that I didn't care about her, I really did. In fact, I still loved her as a person and as a close friend. But I wasn't in love with her anymore, and that was a painful truth to face. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to accept because I didn't want to hurt her. Olivia and I had grown and changed over the years. When we first got together, our values and goals were the same. But as time passed, we started to see the world differently. Things that used to bring us together no longer felt important in the same way. Our priorities and views on life just didn't match anymore. I started to think about the future, and I couldn't see myself spending the next 11 or 13 years with Olivia. I knew that staying in a relationship wasn't fair to either of us. It wasn't about looks or small things, it was about the bigger picture. A strong relationship needs more than just attraction and shared memories to last. Breaking up with Olivia was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. I still remember sitting down to talk to her about it. She cried so much and begged me to reconsider. She told me how much she loved me, and it broke my heart to see her in so much pain. I loved her too, but I knew deep down that we couldn't keep going like this. I tried to explain my feelings and why I thought it was best to end things. Olivia didn't say much during the conversation. In the end, she just got up and walked away without saying a word. It was a heartbreaking moment, but I knew it was the right thing to do. Ending a relationship is never easy, but sometimes it's the best way forward for both people. After breaking up with Olivia, I had no idea what was going through her mind. A few days later, she called me, and the conversation left me feeling so heavy. She begged me to give her another chance. She told me she would change everything about herself to be the person I wanted her to be. Her words made me feel like the worst person in the world. I felt guilty and heartbroken, but deep down, I knew there was nothing I could do. I had already made my decision, and it wasn't something I came to lightly. Even though I cared deeply for Olivia, staying together wouldn't have been fair to either of us. We went our separate ways, but that didn't make it any easier. Part of me wished we could remain friends, but I knew it wouldn't work. It would have been selfish of me to ask that of her while she was still hurting. So I decided to fully let go and move on. Not long after, an opportunity came up for me to move to Florida. It felt like the perfect chance to start fresh. I needed time and space to figure out my life and think about what I truly wanted in a partner. If Olivia wasn't the one for me, I needed to understand what kind of person would be. I packed my things and moved to Florida quickly. Looking back, I don't regret it at all. It was exactly what I needed. The move gave me a new beginning. I met new people, started a fresh chapter at my new job, and settled into a cozy apartment that felt like home. It was like life handed me a blank slate, and I was ready to rewrite my story. At that time, I wasn't interested in dating anyone. After everything that had happened, I just wanted to focus on myself. I needed to take a step back, get my life in order, and understand who I was without the pressure of a relationship. My friends, however, had other plans. They kept trying to set me up with people they thought I'd like. They were convinced that if I met enough women, I'd eventually find someone special. It was amusing to me, but I went along with it to humor them. One evening, I joined some friends for a casual night out. One of them brought along a mutual friend. She was quiet and kept to herself, but there was something about her that caught my attention. She was absolutely stunning, and I felt curious. I decided to approach her, even if it was just to start a conversation and get to know her as a person. We ended up talking for hours. She was so intelligent and had such a unique way of thinking. I was immediately drawn to her. Over time, we became good friends, and I treasure that. Even though I'm still not ready to date, I don't want to ruin our friendship by rushing into something more. For now, I'm happy just having her in my life. After breaking up with Olivia, I talked to a friend about it. She told me I had made the right decision. That gave me a bit of relief because, honestly, I still felt guilty about ending things. Even though I believed I had done what was best for both of us, the thought of hurting Olivia weighed heavily on my mind. It's been 6 months since the breakup and my move to Florida. Life has been busy and full of changes, but I wasn't expecting what happened next. One day, I got an email from Olivia. To my surprise, it was an invitation to her wedding scheduled for the following month. I was stunned because I didn't even know she was seeing anyone, let alone getting married so soon. Despite my surprise, I felt happy for her. Olivia had always wanted to get married, and it was clear she was moving forward with her life. Knowing that she was doing well brought me a sense of peace. It reassured me that, in the end, breaking up had been the right decision for both of us. Olivia asked me to attend her wedding, practically begging me to be there. At first, I thought about going. I figured it could be a chance to visit my family since I hadn't seen them in a long time. My mom, dad, and sister had all been asking me to visit, so I decided to make the trip. When I arrived home, my sister saw through me immediately. She knew I wasn't the kind of person to take time off work without a good reason. She called me out, asking why I had suddenly come home. No kidding, I couldn't fool her. I admitted the truth. I was planning to attend Olivia's wedding. Her reaction was dramatic, to say the least. She gasped and said, "Why on earth would you go to your ex's wedding? That's a terrible idea." At first, I didn't see what the big deal was. But as she explained her perspective, I started to understand. From Olivia's side, it might look odd or even hurtful. After all, I had broken her heart, even though it wasn't intentional. My sister convinced me to skip the wedding. It wasn't a hard decision in the end. I realized that showing up might make things uncomfortable for everyone. Plus, I didn't want to run into anyone who might see me as the bad guy for ending the relationship. On the morning of Olivia's wedding, I decided to sleep in. I had been working late the night before, and since I wasn't attending, it felt like a chance to relax. My phone started ringing early, but I ignored it, hoping to get some rest. When it kept buzzing nonstop, I finally picked it up. It was one of Olivia's friends asking why I wasn't at the wedding. I calmly replied, "Oh, I decided not to come because I didn't want to make things uncomfortable for Olivia. That's why I decided not to attend her wedding." But when I told her friend this over the phone, she said something shocking. She called me the groom. She sounded confused and even angry, saying I couldn't abandon Olivia on the happiest day of her life. I was completely baffled. "What do you mean I'm the groom?" I asked. I told her that Olivia and I had broken up 7 months ago, and this must be some misunderstanding. But she didn't believe me. Instead, she got upset and started yelling. So I ended the call. At first, I thought this was some kind of prank. But then a few minutes later, someone else called me saying the same thing. I was supposed to be at the wedding as the groom. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. There was no way this was real. I decided I wasn't going anywhere until I figured out what was going on. I called my sister Amanda, who had gone to the wedding, but she didn't answer. Eventually I got through to her, and what she told me left me speechless. According to Amanda, Olivia had never told anyone we broke up. Instead, on the same day we ended our relationship, Olivia told everyone that I had proposed to her. Amanda explained that Olivia told her friends and family that I had to leave for Florida for urgent business, but promised to be back in time for the wedding. She even claimed that I had asked her to plan the entire wedding on her own. It sounded like a ridiculous story, but somehow Olivia had convinced everyone it was true. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Olivia had created a completely fake narrative and kept it going for months. It was heartbreaking to learn that our breakup had affected her mental health so deeply. She couldn't cope with the reality of our relationship ending, so she built a lie to protect herself. I felt awful knowing this. Maybe if I had handled things differently, Olivia wouldn't have gone through so much pain. I started to question everything. Should I have stayed with her even if I wasn't happy? Had I made the wrong choice? The situation was embarrassing for both our families. My parents were getting bombarded with calls from confused guests, and Olivia's parents were in shock. When I spoke to her family, I explained everything: the breakup, the misunderstanding, and how I had no idea about the wedding plans. Thankfully, they were understanding. They admitted it had seemed strange when Olivia told them I had proposed, but insisted on planning the wedding alone. Olivia's parents apologized for the chaos and the harsh words I received when people thought I was standing her up at the altar. They also told me Olivia had agreed to start therapy, which was a relief. When I saw Olivia, I didn't know how to act. I realized the best thing I could do was give her space to heal. I decided to go back to Florida and stay away for a while until things settled down. Sometimes, when I think about everything that happened with Olivia, I feel like it's all my fault. I wonder if I could have done something differently. I know I caused her so much pain, and it breaks my heart to think about it. Was it worth it? Honestly, I'm not sure. This guilt is something I'll probably carry with me for a long time. People have different opinions about my decision. Some say, "You're the jerk here. You caused her so much pain that she lost her mind. Why didn't you realize you didn't love her earlier? 3 years is a long time to lead someone on." Others have said, "No, you did the right thing. It's better to be honest, even if it hurt her. You can't sacrifice your happiness to make someone else happy. It wasn't your fault she couldn't handle it." I've thought about these comments a lot. Some people think I was wrong for falling out of love. They ask, what does that even mean? If you didn't know what you wanted after 3 years, you shouldn't have been in a relationship. While others believe I did the right thing by ending it instead of staying unhappy. The truth is, I never wanted to hurt Olivia, but sometimes relationships just don't work out, no matter how much you care about the other person. Now let me tell you another story. This one is about my office life. I work in an office where most of us were allowed to work remotely for the past 3 years. One of my coworkers, Rebecca, decided to move from New York to Nevada because the cost of living there is much cheaper. Things worked out great for her. She found someone to handle her office tasks, like managing her mail while she worked from home. I've never really liked Rebecca, though. When I started at the company, she took advantage of me and made my work life harder. She never apologized or tried to make things right. In fact, there were times she threw me under the bus to make herself look good. Recently, the company announced that employees need to come back to the office at least twice a week. Rebecca panicked because, obviously, she can't fly from Nevada to New York every week. Our boss said he was okay with her working remotely as long as she could find someone to help with her office tasks. Guess who she asked for help? Me. Rebecca approached me saying, You're nice and regularly in the office, so you'd be perfect for the job." I wasn't thrilled. I asked her what I'd get in return for helping her. She seemed confused. I explained that I'm not doing extra work for free. I told her, "I understand how valuable my help would be, but I'm not a nice person doing favors for no reason. I'm busy and I don't owe you anything. Honestly, I don't feel bad. I don't work for her, and I don't see why I should take on her responsibilities when she never treated me fairly. I never really liked her. Don't get me wrong, I didn't say no right away when she asked for my help, but honestly, what was she going to do for me in return? All she said was, 'We're a team,' and mentioned that I was already in the office, so I should help her out. I told her, 'Sorry, I'm too busy.' That's where I left it. Now she's scrambling to come up with backup plans, but HR and compliance are shutting them all down. Honestly, if she had just offered something small, like a gift card or even a simple thank you, I might have considered helping her. It amazes me how some people can beg for help and still expect things to go entirely their way. There's a reason I cut her off, though. A few things happened early on that made me realize what kind of person she was. When I first started working here, she would dump her tasks on my desk at the last minute, expecting me to do them. I wasn't hired to help her, but she didn't seem to care. Then she started promising other people that I would handle things for them without even asking me. The worst moment came about 5 months into the job. She asked me to mail out some paperwork she had prepared. I didn't think much of it, so I sent it. Later, it turned out that her work was full of mistakes. Instead of owning up to it, she blamed me for not checking her work. That was the last straw for me. I told her off right then and there. After that, she found someone else to take advantage of. I figured it was only a matter of time before she pulled something similar with them. Now that she's moved to Nevada, in theory, she should have to move back to the office. But she's clever. She knows how to get others to pick up her slack. That way she can stay in Nevada, enjoying her cheaper rent while other people do part of her job for her. Sure enough, she found another person to help her. When I said no, I didn't feel guilty at all. I'm definitely not the jerk here. It's not my responsibility to clean up her messes or make her life easier. She's paid to do her job, and I'm paid to do mine. My time is valuable, and if she wants me to take on extra work, then it's only fair that I get something in return. If she had asked me differently, maybe said something like, "I know you're busy, but could I pay you to help me with this?" Then I might have considered it. But instead, she acted entitled, and I have no patience for that. I still remember a moment from when I was a kid that really stuck with me. My older brother Jake and his wife Lauren had brought home some ice cream. I asked if I could have some, but they told me no. At the time, it didn't seem like a big deal. They bought it, so it was their choice. But just a few minutes later, my other brother Francis asked for some, and they said yes. I was confused and asked again, but Lauren firmly said no to me. It wasn't just the ice cream, it was how she treated me. It always felt like she didn't like me. As I grew older, these little moments piled up, and I started to notice how often she went out of her way to make me feel left out. When Jake and Lauren got engaged, I was 18. That was also the same year I came out to my family. Thankfully, my family was loving and supportive, which meant the world to me. But Lauren wasn't the same. When they sent out wedding invitations to family and close friends, I was the only one who didn't get one. At first, my mom thought it was a mistake, that maybe my invitation had been sent separately or got lost. After a week, she called Lauren to ask about it. Lauren told her, "Children aren't allowed at the wedding, and I don't want someone like her ruining my wedding." She was clearly talking about me being part of the LGBT+ community. My mom tried to convince Lauren to let me attend, but she wouldn't budge. So while the rest of my family went to the wedding, I stayed home. It hurt a lot, but there wasn't anything I could do. Growing up, Lauren always made me feel like I wasn't good enough, like I was the problem. Whenever I tried to tell someone how she treated me, they would brush it off and say she was just teasing or playing around. Years later, when I planned my own wedding, I sent out invitations to everyone in my family except Lauren. I didn't want her there. My wife fully supported my decision. She knew how Lauren had treated me and agreed that we shouldn't invite someone who made us feel uncomfortable. When Lauren realized she hadn't received an invitation, she called me. She asked why, and I told her the truth. We didn't feel comfortable with her attending. After that, the calls started pouring in from family members. My mom called me petty and hung up. Other relatives told me they wouldn't come to my wedding if Lauren wasn't invited. It hurt deeply to know my own family wouldn't be there on such an important day, but I stood my ground. I wasn't going to let someone who had hurt me so much ruin my happiness. Francis, my other brother, was the only one from my family who came. He even walked me down the aisle. Since the wedding, I've been called names like petty and a backstabber by some of my family, but I don't regret my decision. It was my day, and I deserve to feel happy and safe. I still don't understand how my family could attend Lauren's wedding when I wasn't invited. But now they're all calling me names and harassing me for not inviting her to mine. Looking back, part of me wonders if I could have avoided this whole mess by just letting Lauren come to the wedding. But honestly, I don't think I'm in the wrong. My family is choosing to side with someone who treated me badly throughout my childhood instead of supporting me. They were willing to protest my wedding because Lauren wasn't invited, but they didn't stand up for me when I was excluded from hers. This was my special day, and I should be surrounded by people who love and support me. Lauren has never supported me. If she had come to the wedding, she probably would have found a way to make it all about her or used it as an opportunity to shame me for being part of the LGBT+ community. I'm proud that I stood my ground and didn't let her attend. It wasn't about being petty. It was about protecting my happiness on one of the most important days of my life. I don't think I owed it to anyone to keep the peace by inviting someone who has always made me feel small. My family made excuses for Lauren's behavior for years. They were okay with how she treated me, and now they've shown where their loyalty lies by skipping my wedding. In her defense, that hurts, but it's also eye-opening. It shows me who truly cares about me and who doesn't. Francis is the only one who has always stood by me. He not only came to my wedding, but also walked me down the aisle when my dad refused. That kind of support means everything to me, and it's a reminder to focus on the people who genuinely love me. From now on, I'm going to put my energy into the relationships that matter, the ones that bring positivity into my life. I refuse to let Lauren's or my family's behavior ruin my joy. Living life to the fullest and with joy is the finest approach to go on. It will only demonstrate that I don't require their approval to be happy if they witness me succeeding in spite of their criticism. I will not allow anyone to sabotage my partner's and my love's happiness and love.